Hello and welcome back to Overseas Auto Reviews. Here I have this 2021 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sahara Altitude 4-wheel drive to review, courtesy of Dwayne Lane's Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, located in Everett, Washington. This is quite an interesting vehicle and I'll show you why today. Without further ado, let's break this car down and complete a review. Up front you can see the very stated Jeep look, these 7 inserts which do feed the engine, and then you have these LED headlights which do look very good. They are quite bright as well. The lower portion features this plastic bumper piece which does have integrated metal tow hooks which are connected to the chassis of the vehicle just in case you're stuck off-road and need some assistance in getting out. This bumper also contains this gloss black piece with a fake vent and the fog lights on both sides as well. The over fender is rather large and it does have the reflectors on it which are by regulation in the United States. On the top you have this very signature hood as well. It does have tie downs if you did want to add other things on the hood of the vehicle, and then you have the manual hood release which I will show you right now. Now, getting underneath the hood of this Jeep was quite the process. First you have to undo the latches on the sides and then the center one which is actually underneath the hood. Then you will find the hood prop which is on the top and you prop it into its position right over here. But now that we are inside the engine bay, you will see this 3-liter V6 diesel engine which does produce 260 horsepower and 442 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers, with the aid of the all-wheel drive drivetrain and 8-speed automatic transmission, will get the vehicle to 60 in around 6 seconds, which isn't too bad considering that you have off-road wheels and this amount of weight. Moving on to the wheels, you can see these 18 by 7.5 inch gloss black wheels. These are wrapped in Bridgestone off-road tires, and they look pretty good, especially with the overall aesthetic of the vehicle. One thing I did like a lot about these wheels is that there is the Willys Jeep imprinted at the bottom, as you can see, and it's just a nice little addition from Jeep. At the side of the Wrangler, you can tell that it's just another Jeep, really. It does look very good, especially in this metallic gray paint color. Now, this vehicle does have keyless entry, so all you have to do is slick your hand into the door handle, unlocks, the vehicle door opens. In order to go away, you have to do is press on that little button. Now, just in case the battery was dead and you needed to get inside of the Jeep, the keyhole is right over here. One thing I love about these Jeeps is that the door hinges are always exposed, and on the rear as well, it does look very good. This vehicle has been blacked out, so the wheels, the grille, and all of the other badges, along with these mirrors and door handles, have also been painted black, which do dress it up, especially with this gray paint color. The front has this okay body line with a fake vent, does not provide any cooling, just there for show, but it does bring in these really wide front fenders in very nicely with the vehicle as well. The bottom portion does have these running boards which are fixed in place. They do help get inside the vehicle since getting in can be quite difficult, especially if you are a shorter person. Let me take you on to the rear and show you what that's about. At the rear of the Jeep, I would say it's relatively well designed. You have this full-size spare, which is always nice, especially if you are off-roading. And then the backup camera is very conveniently placed right over here, the farthest outwards position from the rear end. So you do get an idea of where your farthest outward position will be when you are parking. Speaking of parking, you do have parking sensors with this vehicle as well, which is always helpful, especially in something with such large blind spots. On the lower end, you have this plastic piece right over here, which does hide these little tow hooks over here attached to the chassis. So if you did need to get pulled out while you are stuck in sand, that is always an option. Now, when I did talk about the keyless entry, it is over here as well. What you have to do is stick your hand in. You can see that you have the trunk, which is full of spare parts right now. I will take these out and do the complete trunk test in a bit. But you also have this black window over here. It does pop up because you can see these hinges right over here, just in case you needed to aerate your interior just a bit better. You also have the Eco Diesel badge over here, signifying that it is the diesel variant of this Jeep. Here is a deeper look on the cargo area on the Wrangler. You can see this very relatively large space for storing things, and this undercargo area for storing things that you'd want to keep away from sight. Not that you're going to see anything through this tinted rear glass. Now, the first thing I noticed when I opened up this area was this huge roll cage, and its main purpose is to protect you in case this vehicle rolls over when you have the roof off. Yes, I said roof off because this does have the one-touch removable roof. All you do is hold a button and the roof retracts all the way onto this area right here, and it's a very nice and open cabin feel once you do that. It does look pretty good as well. At this side right over here, you also see this huge Alpine subwoofer, and you have more speakers on the center, which are also pretty huge. So these speakers in this vehicle are indeed bumping. Now for the trunk test, I will come over here, launch myself, and I fit quite nicely. This is actually great for when you're parked on the beach and you have a couple friends over. Just chill in this area, don't even think about those seats. A note feature about the Wrangler is this plaque situated inside the rear hinge. It shows you the dimensions and the angles for off-roading with the 2-door and 4-door options, along with the water flooding limit. It does also say that it's made in the US, and it does show you where it was made. Now this is a diesel vehicle, so you'd expect the economy to be pretty good. Now keep in mind that this is a box on wheels pretty much, so you are going to lose some of that economy with a drag coefficient. However, you do get 22 in the city and 29 on the freeway, which is okay. Now that we are at the rear, let me show you how to get in and the comfort of the back seats. Now you have this step bar. You also have a grab handle right over here. Grab this and sit inside. Now once you do close the door, you can see this soft touch leather piece with hard touch over here, this metal door handle with the lock button, and a very, very small cubby. Now once I do close the door, I have very little knee and leg room, sitting at 5'11". Now on the left side, you do have this little base plate for putting stuff. I don't know what large thing you'd have to put in there, but it's there if you do need it. You also have the cell phone holder over there, along with the home style outlet and 2 USB ports right over there. You also have the mirror switches for the rear windows, which are quite small right over here as well. Now you also have this upper piece right here, which does contain the rear lights and 2 very large speakers. These seats are completely leather wrapped and they are black. I do like the way this interior looks. It looks more upscale for something that you'd be taking off-road. Let's go up to the front and I'll show you the features up there. Now here we are in the driver's seat on the 2021 Wrangler. It's really not too bad. The door panel is pretty much the same as the rear, just an unlock and lock switch with the mirror controls over here. If you're wondering where the mirror adjustment is, that is right over here, and you have these rubber pull tabs, which are always nice. Now in this lower section, you have the regular gear selector, and then you have your all-wheel drive settings right here: 2-wheel drive high, 4-wheel drive high, neutral, and then 4-wheel drive low, which is always great. You also have an manual parking brake. If you do like those, that is right here. You also have 2 square cup holders, not too large, but those will suffice. Now in the center, you also have this very large center armrest with a USB-A port. And when you close it, you have the second portion, which does have this fake carbon Damascus look. I don't know what that's for, but it looks interesting, better than just a regular plastic piece. And then back to this place, you also have the media output options with 4 auxiliary options as well. The display system is just a basic Uconnect display system with a different font. I've gone over this display system in the 2020 Dodge Durango. It's the same one, they haven't updated it. So if you do want to see what this looks like, this is the same system, and I'll link my video to that on the description. And if you're watching on PC or your phone, you'll have a little banner that's up here. But one unique thing about this is the off-road pages. You can see a little Jeep run across the bottom. Then you have all your off-road accessory options. You can see right here, I am at a 1-degree roll, as this is parked up on some angled concrete, but that is pretty much it on the infotainment system. Now the center, you have your tachometer, goes all the way up to 120 miles an hour. I don't know how comfortable you'd be doing that in this vehicle, but nonetheless, you do have it. You also have your display, which can be controlled by these buttons right over here. You can see all these things. You also have your RPM gauges with the option that shows you what type of all-wheel drive system you are in currently. Now this does have the automatic roof release button, so once you do hold this down, the entire roof goes away. Takes quite a bit, but once you're there, it does look really good. You have lots of space, and it definitely opens up this interior. The steering wheel is also leather wrapped, and you do not have any paddle shifters, not that you'd really need them. Really a basic interior, but it doesn't feel too basic. It does feel pretty high quality, if I do say so myself. Let's take this vehicle out on the road and let me show you how it drives. Here we are driving the 2021 Wrangler. In the parking lot while maneuvering it, I felt that the steering sensitivity was pretty good, but the turning radius wasn't as good. That's expected, however, because the wheelbase is quite large and you also have wider tires, so it's a bit of a process to get through tight spaces. No problem whatsoever getting up to highway speeds. High end torque is pretty good, low end torque is even better. This is in the mid 400 range, so it is really good. Horsepower, however, is kind of lacking, but you don't really need that in an off-road oriented vehicle, even though this is mainly used in the city anyways. The suspension in this Wrangler is very well tuned, don't feel any of the bumps that you go over. Went over one or two manhole covers as well, didn't feel those at all. Steering at highway speeds isn't too bad, there's no noticeable death wobble at 60 miles an hour. Wind noise, however, is definitely leaking into the cabin. I'm guessing it's through that removable roof, so that is one thing to note. In terms of driving on the road, I believe that the Wrangler is not actually meant for it, but it still does it relatively well. If you do plan on driving this vehicle on the road only, don't get it. Or if you really just want this vehicle, then just change the tires, because tire noise is pretty apparent as well. Overall, it's a great vehicle. It is pretty boxy, so get ready for some wind noise. The Wrangler has very limited competition, and I believe that there is only one true competitor, being the 2021 Ford Bronco Wildtrak. I say the Wildtrak because it makes the most sense in comparison with the Wrangler's price point and engine option. Now, this Wildtrak does have a 2.6 liter EcoBoost V6, which does produce 310 horsepower and around 400 pound-feet of torque. More horsepower but less torque than the Wrangler. I believe that this also looks a lot better than the Wrangler, but it is more limited in terms of off-roading capability. In the end, it's really your choice if you want a Ford or a Jeep. And that is the complete review on the 2021 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sahara Altitude. I think that is a great vehicle that you'd want to get into off-roading with, and you also have room for modifications as well. And that's why Jeep is such a popular vehicle, especially among the off-roading community in the United States. It looks pretty good, and I think it drives okay. There is lots of wind noise, but that's to be expected with something that's pretty much just a box on wheels. Now, for $57,050, I think that's a lot of money for a Jeep, but this is pretty much fully optioned, and you have all of those extra features that do dress it up quite nicely. Now, if I did want an off-road vehicle, this is probably going to be my go-to vehicle, and I'd recommend it to anyone who's getting into off-roading or is already good at off-roading, just wants another vehicle that is solid. That is all for today. Thank you very much for watching, and remember to keep on driving.